Okay, so now we're back with our interior compactor scene, and we've got everything that we need now to create our figures inside of. So we've got our interior structure here, right? So we've got our 1 point, and we see our back wall. Let me go out actually a little bit. So we've got our back wall in through here. We've got all our 1 point perspective working for us in our compactor scene, and we're going up here all the way to 31 feet, and then it looks like a little bit beyond too as well. One thing I do want to correct, I want to come up here and correct out a little bit of this one angle kind of right in through here. I don't like the way that sits, so I'm going to come over here and freehand sketch. I think I want it to be about right here, which brings this over a little bit and over like so. I think that looks better. Let me grab my ruler. Okay, so I've got my ruler a little bit. I didn't like that angle, so I'm going to change this a little bit. So yours might be probably better than mine, so I'm going to change it up a little bit, tighten it up to here. Yeah, right in through there. And then bring this up a little bit to there. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. Okay, so I can clone that out and erase that out in a little bit as we go through. Okay, so I just wanted to take that away just a little bit. And let's see, so let's go back now. Let's go downward. And let's take a little bit of a look through here. Now let's reference our figures out. Well, let's start putting our figures in our composition. So we'll go in a little bit more so we can go even deeper through here and take a look at what we're doing here. So, all right, so we've got our composition set in, just the opposite way. Sorry about that. Thing takes off on me. So we've got our composition set in, and we've got just a basic projection of our figures, right? So what can we do with these now further? So I'm going to start with Chewbacca. So I'll start on Chewbacca's layer. And remember, he's at 7 feet 5 inches. So that puts him, it makes him pretty large. And I'm going to keep him against that wall pretty close to that area, to us. In our viewpoint, so he's pushed further from us actually. And I'm gonna, if you remember the scene a little bit, he spends a lot of time in that back corner, and he kind of pushes on that wall a little bit. So I'm not going to change his height much. Now, because he's leaning over, I'll show you something here. You know, we've got him. Okay, so you see the hand here. We've got him straight up. What I'm going to do is tilt him a little bit off of that, so he's going to be a little bit shorter than that 7 foot mark in my thinking. So I'm just showing you my thinking here. So I might tilt him like this and down. So I'm going to put this like an axis line for Chewbacca right in through there. So he's going to be tilted down and maybe trying to push that wall out of the way. So in my mind, this is still about right in through here, about 7 foot. 5 inches as we sketch him out. So I'm going to start to sketch him out, keep him pretty light, and just get a feel for him there. Make sure we're on his layer. So I'm going to come in here and just start to play around with his positioning. So I figured I've got him here, right? And then he's going to come down. Here's his head, and then we're going to start to figure out his gesture. So he may come in here and try to hold all this in some way. So his hand's here, big Wookiee hand, kind of in through here, trying to hold all this down with it. So we have his little profile, and I can go back and ink him in a little bit later. So I'm pushing him in here, and here's his torso, his back in through here. Okay, so I'm just following. See how I'm following that line down, and we're going to put him, more in our composition. Not worrying about detail, just sort of the basic form and volume of our good friend here, Chewbacca. So we've got him laying in through here. Remember, he's going to be 7 foot, 5 inches. A little bit of the buttock part of it, the back part, downward, and he kind of has on. He kind of looks like he's always got on bell bottoms. I always think about when I see him. Of course, he's got this big, long, furry kind of foot thing, kind of coming in through here. So he's pretty close to the back wall. And let's push his back foot forward like this, so we get a little bit of that. So maybe he's doing this. So you with me here? And then he comes downward, kind of like this, at an angle. And so we get his foot maybe coming down in through there. So we've got now our good friend Chewbacca trying to save us all in this compactor scene. And remember, we've got 4 feet of water. So our water line, remember, right in the center. I'm pointing at the center if you can't see it. Let me use the hand. It's a little bit bigger. Right in through here is our water line. Remember, right in through there. So he's about, since he's 7'5", about 3 feet 5 inches of him is still above the water line, which is also what? Our eye level. Take a drink there. And our eye line, eye level horizon line, and it's also our water line. Now that's going to be a problem for Leia, since she's only 5 feet, right? And she's over here where it says LE, and we'll talk about her in a moment. We'll lay her in her layer in a moment. Okay, so I've got Chewbacca gently laid in here, and then we can later on, when we get everybody located, then we'll darken them in a little bit so we can really see it. Okay, so let's pull out a little bit and see what we did. See if I can do this without messing this up. There, it keeps flying away from me. Okay, all right, so not bad. So there it goes. One day I'll get this right. One day. So there's Chewbacca in our composition. Now he's 7 feet 5 inches, but look how small he is in the entire picture, right? So that's what we wanted. We want to get that grand vision, or that grand scene of us, be floating in the water. We can see in the water too, but we can see out. So he's 7 feet 5, and how tiny he is. So it's the grand vision of all of this. Okay, so let's pull now Luke's layer here, because if we turn Chewie's layer off, we wouldn't see Chewie there. So we'll pull Luke and Chewie together. So we'll push on Luke's layer, so we have him activated, and let's dive back in here, come up, and so we've got a perspective problem now that we want to solve. Now Luke, remember, is 5 feet 6 inches. He's exactly tall as I am, so I kind of connect with Luke a little bit right in through there. Let me go back down just a touch so we can get it all together and bring this up. That way you can see it. Okay, so he's 5'6". Now, we want to bring him forward some in the composition. He and Han Solo are going to be working on taking that pole and that they had in the movie and kind of placing it in between the teeth slats. So we need to get them kind of working together. So I'm going to pull Luke out. Watch down here. I want to set him in I'm going to put a dot about right there. See that dot right there? I made a mark right there. That's where I want to position him, okay? And so I'm going to take my ruler here. And if you're using tracing paper, great. If you're using the Cintiq, you can. And I'm going to make a little perspective convergence line out. See that there? I'm going to bring that out, okay? So that's where I want Luke's feet to be, right there touching. So I'm going to bring then a vertical line up from that point, and I'm just going to shoot it up here. Shoot it off as high as I want, way up in through here. I don't care how far it goes, right there. Okay, we can see that I'll darken it in a little bit. Now, see how these fall line together? So that's where Luke is, right there. I'm making that point. Now I can take from the vanishing point through the top of Luke and project him from this point right to there. So that's where he is, a little closer to us at 5 feet 6 inches. So he is closer to us now in my line projection, right, than Chewbacca is. Now, When you're sketching freehand, you can do this really quickly and really loosely, and it happens automatically. Here we're slowing it down. We're being a little bit more technical so you get the idea. Then this can happen actually really fast and be a whole lot of fun, and you can place figures all over the place as you need to. Okay? All right, so my interpretation then of Luke is he is going to be facing away from us, looking back slightly to Han in this direction, right in through here. Okay, and I might put Han at about the same position. I might bring him a little bit forward too as well. All right, so I'm going to go back to my brush tool, make sure when Luke's layer in through here, and we're going to just sketch in a concept of Luke. Now remember, he's got, in my drawing, he's got the stormtrooper gear on, so I've got to keep that in mind. So here's the side plane of his head, right in through here. His hair could be in through here. Okay, so there's his head. Let me rough out his entire body. That might be a little small. So here he is, his shoulder, in through here, his shoulder line. And we're going to push him this way a little bit. Okay, coming down through. Here's his body a little bit. His back before his buttock starts. His rear end in through there. Here's kind of the center line of his back in through here. So we're going to start to get a feel for maybe his buttock through here. Here's the split of the buttock, right in through there. And so what we're looking for now is to say, okay, maybe this leg, okay, pushes forward here, like so, and maybe this leg pushes back a little bit to brace himself. Here's kind of the calf, the thigh coming together, the calf down, and then we might see his feet come out this way. The heel of his shoe might be down and through here, so we'll see that coming down and over. So we're just sketching from imagination. All right, so there's his foot in through there, and I'm going to put the back leg now down a little bit, and it will be slightly in front, in through here, okay, and down over. And his boot might, the ending point might be right in through there as it goes back a little bit to brace himself a little bit, right in through there. Okay, so I'm going to hide Chewbacca for a second. We'll take Chewbacca out. Okay, so he's there. So I'm going to bring, now Luke's shoulder here might be a little higher. I better bring Chewbacca back in so make sure we don't lose him. So Luke's shoulder might be this high because he's helping to raise up the pole in through here like so. So it might be a little raised up and pushed over, and then he comes down over and in. I want to keep it light because I don't want to get too dark so I can draw over this later like so. So he might have that there. And I'm imagining the pole being pushed down diagonally, if you can see that, in this direction, in through there, a little bit towards Han, a little bit, and then Luke, his other hand is coming in this direction. I'll put it on a little bit to here, go a little faster, up, raised a little bit, and they're going to try to lift this heavy metal structure, this pole, and place it between the compactor teeth on both sides, so to stop the compactor from continuing on. Now remember that Luke is 5'6". The water line is still at our eye level, so he's in pretty good amount of water. So we're really getting squeezed in, probably more than a movie, but I don't care. I want to do what we want to do, or I want you to do. And we're through here. So that's where we're at. And here's I'll make the back a little bit more meaningful here, and all the detail we can get later if we want to even do this knee and through there. There. But I'm showing you how we can scale and position figures. Now look how tall Chewbacca is still. He's farther away. He's about a foot or two away, and he's still pretty big compared to Luke as he should be. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and draw the pole how I want it in perspective and just get a feel for it to show you. So I'm thinking about this diagonal coming in through here. Now it's slightly going away from us, so I'm just going to freehand sketch it in through here like so, and it's going to be moving back in space a little bit like so in through here. Now it's in front of Chewbacca, so it's not going to hit him, and so it's going to end about right there as we draw it right in through there. So notice I've got the opacity on, it's pretty low, it's only 16%. And the nib is at 11, so it's not too tight. It's got enough detail or enough thinness that I can see it, but I don't want it to get too thick, and I can tighten it up with ink later on. So this pole might end somewhere here, right? So Luke and Han are working with that pole a little bit. Okay. So I think I'll leave Han maybe where he's at. So I'll go now to Han's layer. So if we turned off Chewbacca, right, we turned off Luke, and we had Han there. I need them together, but we can turn it on and off, which is nice about layers. We have Luke there. Look like I did a extra work on Chewbacca in Luke's layer, which is fine. So we've got Chewbacca back and through here. Okay. And now we're going to go to Han's layer. So remember, he's 5'9", so perceptually he's close to the wall. If his head is here now where Luke is, so he's 5'9", so we've pushed Luke here. So I'll draw a straight down line below here. Here's how far we've pushed Luke at. I'm just guesstimating. That's probably a foot or two. So in perspective, Luke and Han now, because Luke is about 2 or 3 feet in front of us, right? This way, I'll put in the arrow so you can see that. Because Luke is pushed forward, Han is about now the same size as Luke in perspective, in our vision, even though Han is 3 inches taller than Luke. Remember, Han is 5 feet 9 inches tall. Okay, so let's work now with Han, and let's now imagine he is grabbing onto that pole and starting to lift up and helping Luke out with the idea that they're going to put it across these teeth and try to block that compactor in vain, right? All right, so let's work with Han's head. I'm going to give him a little bit of a head tilt, just for interest in through here. So here he is. There's no detail on this stage of drawing at all. It's just about placement and perspective. I probably won't get too detailed. I don't want to get you bogged down. You can do that on your own and have fun with it, but this is about perspective and really composition too as well. Okay, so there's Han's head. So we see him here. So I've got to think, okay, maybe he's leaning a little bit downwards, which makes him a little shorter than 5'9". So remember, he's got a stormtrooper suit on too as well. So maybe he's doing that. And so maybe he's doing like bicep curls where this is leaning over. So I could bring that tube over even further. It's the side plane of his head so we can see in perspective there. A little bit of the neck so you can see. So maybe he's doing this. He's lifting up, doing the heavy work in through there. So his hands would be maybe here, Han's hands, and through there. So let me bring this pole over a little bit further and through here and downward, disappearing, and almost would hit Leia, but she's going to be somewhere else, and I'll show you how I do that in a moment. But yeah, we're going to keep her same height. So here he is. Here he's lifting here, lifting through here, hand and the underarm, elbow, and through here. So they're starting to lift up, just in the process of doing that. So let's bring Han's torso down in through here. Okay, and then we'll bring his in pelvic region over and through here. And then what can we do with his legs a little bit? Let's see, let's make him like this. So we'll push him out just a little bit since he's shorter. We'll bring him right to there. And we'll bring his leg over there to there. Okay, so maybe he's pressing down with his boots, kind of right in through there. Okay, and then the other leg, we'll give him some weight transfer and balance, and the other would be down and through there. So where we have him now at about 5 feet 9 inches in our composition, and now he and Luke are starting to engage with that metal trash pole thing that they use to help them try to, at least in vain, try to hold that compactor together. Okay, so we have that. So we have Han there. So let's pull out just a little bit and see what we've wrought. Here we go. Take a look at that. So we've got our figures. Now remember, Han is 5'9". So he when we pull Luke back, he will diminish. We could follow our convergence lines back to where he was. And so he will look, when he converges back his 2 or 3 feet, he will definitely look and be smaller than Han if Han is completely tall and erect. Okay, so now I want to add Leia to our composition, and we're going to pretend like she's climbing a little bit. She wants to climb up and see if that's possible. Maybe she's on some trash. Remember, here's the water line, and that's where also garbage will be too. As well in through there. So we've got, let's engage her layer there, and I'm going to show you how to scale this up a little bit. So let's pull in. Okay, all right, so we've got that. Now she's 5 feet. Okay, so we can take this measurement here, her line here and here, take its length, take a piece of paper if you're using tracing paper or just sketching. You can take a little piece of paper and mark that length and then double it, add it on top of this line all the way up. So let's do that. Let's go, whoops, let me go back to getting this in. We'll go in a little bit. No, wrong way. Oh, wrong way. There we go. Okay, so let's make her now the same length. So from here to here, I'm going to guess it. That's half. So that's 2.5 feet. 2.5 feet. And then right there where she's probably, her height has been transferred. Remember, when we go just straight up or down or left or right, we don't change any scale. Perspective doesn't change that for us because there's no depth change. Okay? Keep that in mind. So I can just transfer her scale up really easy. It's the same thing we did with the door, the 4 feet of the water line going up and going up. We got her already. Okay, so we did that. Okay, so now I've got her here, right here and here. Okay, now what I want to create is the idea that she might be standing on some trash, or she might be standing on over here, but she's going to raise herself up and get off of that water line at 4 feet, because she's only got a foot left to deal with, and she's going to drown or start to drown if she doesn't. So we're going to put her here. So she's going to be leaning over a little bit to here. Now I'm going to go in a little bit deeper so we can see. And so we'll go this way. Yes, okay. Oof. Man, it goes in fast. All right, so let's draw her in. It's pretty good there if we can go in. So we've got her now leaning over a little bit, so this might be where she's at 5 feet from here to this line. I'm just feeling this measurement, okay, over. I'll put a little arrow here and then down where she would be, maybe just a little bit lower. Okay, so we're going to put her head about right here in profile, Okay, and she's got that, her hair bun, her classic hair bun here, her head here. So we're looking underneath her. We'll keep her very broad so we don't get into any detail right now. So we've got her hair there. Okay, neck coming down like so. So there's her neck. And then remember, she's got the classic Star Wars, kind of robe, flowy robe and thing through there. So we're going to pretend like on this back side, her hand is coming up here, and she'd have robe on, and so maybe she might be grabbing on or trying to grab onto something here. So there's her hand coming up here and over, and then so we can see her coming down this way, and she might be trying to again crawl up, and so we might see, let's see, her robe. I'm trying to imagine her anatomy under her robe a little bit. So she might be using her leg here, and I'll have to have her standing on maybe some trash too as well, so she can get a footing. And so we might see this, where her robe is like that, down through here. Okay, and maybe her other foot with her robe, maybe her other foot is right here coming down. It's a lot easier to draw figures with long flowy robes. You can just find big shapes. And her other shoe thing is in through here. So she might be in the act of grabbing and climbing and getting a foothold or a handhold on something, and maybe she comes in through here. This would come over like so. And then she might be trying to grab underneath like that a little bit. Okay, and so we've got there. And then later on there might be some garbage stuff that's just junk and that we can add in just a little bit later. I should do that in a trash layer, but I've got it in Leia's layer now. So we can see then where she's really pushed over a little bit. Okay, so let me pull down and out a little bit here and see what we've got. Okay, we'll go back. Whoops, get that wrong. Always, it's just going to be part of what I do. I get it wrong. That's who I am. I get it wrong. Okay, so here we've got our figures laid in our compactor seam, and we've got a pretty good scaling. So now we see Leia at 5 feet here, and now she's 5 feet up, and she's crawling on garbage and whatnot. So I'll start the trash, layer in through here, and this can be all kinds of stuff that is hidden a little bit from the water. And a lot of that stuff just looks like wall stuff or foam or whatever, and you can just have fun a little bit, go into town with it in through here. And so we've got all that in our composition. So let's pull out a little bit further and look even deeper now. There we go. Okay, so we'll take a look at it. Bring it down so we can go even further. And so now they're in diminutive scale. And there we go. In diminutive scale to our composition, but they're in nice scale relationship to themselves. And so the way to do that, again, was through perspective, to not only get the entire compactor room set in, but now that we have this, we have them all laid in, and we have them all tied into the 1 point vanishing point, and we could reference their scale from the background line where the wall meets the floor and bring them up. And that was a random choice. I just decided how big I wanted Chewbacca to be, and then everybody scales up and back or down from there since he's so large. And then, of course, we took Leia and we scaled her from her 5 foot height. We brought her up. She's still 5 feet tall because she hasn't moved backwards or forwards. Make sure that you understand that. She did not move backwards or forwards. She stayed the same height, but we put her now from her head. She is now 10 feet in the air because she's crawling up to get out of the way of the compactor teeth, and she's on trash. Okay, so let's add some trash and garbage to our scene. So I'll pull in. Okay, so let's pull in now. There we go. And now it's just all about the fun of sketching. So I'll lay in, compositionally, I'll lay these in lighter, and then I think what I'll do is I'll start a couple of figures and go a little bit darker, add some detail, and then I'll cut off and then finish it out almost, and then cut back in. You can see me, finish it out. That way we can not make the video quite so long. So let me just show you how I put some more garbage in. I'm with the trash layer. Now, if you're working with just tracing paper, you can do this in multiple layers of tracing paper. Every time I have a layer over here to the right on the screen, you could have a new layer of tracing paper if you want. You could have your original drawing, which is our background, and you could have a tracing layer for Chewbacca, Luke, Han, Leia, and then also for the trash. And the water too, if you want. So now it just becomes a fun sketching problem where I'm just going to start putting little objects and things in here and in the garbage. And remember that these are floating because our water line is right here. We got to have that water line. Maybe I should make it a little bit darker. I'll outline a little bit darker so you can see that even further. We always want to see that, so that's another relationship that we can have, is this water line, and that's where our camera is. Our camera, if we're the cinematographer, we set this up right there, right? We've said, hey, they're going to be, your eye, the viewer, is going to be right there in that vision. And I think maybe what I'll do is let's maybe make it all a little bit more readable. Let me go up in my nib a little bit. Maybe we'll go, we can block this in ultra quick, and we'll keep the opacity really low, maybe at, I don't know, 10. Maybe in through there would be good. And let's see what that looks like. So let's just kind of lay this in. Yeah, nice and light. We'll just take it all the way through. And so that way you know for sure that you can see this, and we know that that's water. Right in through there. Okay, so we have that right in through there. So there they are, and anything in the gray area is now water. Okay, so let's go back now. We'll keep the opacity maybe at 15, 16, and then down, certainly down to about 12, 13, right in through there. Now we can see that. And so we're still at the trash level. If we took that layer off, that's what that would look like, and now we're back on. So we can take that on and off. As a lot of you probably already know, I'm not that well versed in the Cintiq, if you can't tell, but I'm getting there. And it's just a great drawing tool. I love it, and so I'm learning more about it and using it in lessons at the university here in the drawing channel that we've started to as well. So maybe there's all kinds of garbage of whatnot, flotsam and jetsam, and I'm just using some lines to make some kind of sort of random kind of forms in through here. And maybe that monster pops up. Maybe we'll pop up its head. Maybe its head pops up, in through here, and nobody's noticing it right now, but it's looking at them. It's kind of got that one sort of eye, like in through here. It's kind of cartoony looking, and it's coming back, and it's kind of like a snake. It's got some hair, I think, or something like that, and it comes back. Where would that be in perspective? So maybe it's through here, and then it goes out the composition again. So it's starting to look. So it breaks the water line, right in through there. So let's draw some more garbage and just pieces of trash, that, random, kind of sketchy trash form. So we could kind of look in here if we were omniscient, and maybe it wouldn't be too dark. And I'm just going to throw some extra stuff in through here so we can see maybe this is going to pop up in through here like so, and more garbage, and it's just random and randomly placed, and hopefully it works decently well with the composition. But I don't want to belabor the point, but I do want to get the idea that they're in a trash covered kind of scene in through here. Maybe there's something sort of circular down in through here. Maybe it was part of a droid or a wheel or tire on a vehicle. Maybe that was down in through here. Maybe there's an old R2 unit down in through here that was discarded. Poor guy. And through here. Down and through there, and so on and so forth, and so they're in the water. Okay, so let's pull out now. Let's pull out a little bit. And let's see what we've wrought. Okay, and I can bring this over. And so now we start to get a fuller scene of what's happening in our composition, in our drawing. We've got all our figures together, so we could turn all of these off. We could take Chewbacca out. We could take Luke out, and Han, and then Leia, of course, and then the trash scene. And we're left with what we had. And then we can build them back. We can see how we use perspective to work all this together to make this scene start to really work. And you would play with composition, that way. So even on the trash, if I was on the trash layer, maybe we wanted to, have some drips, so some water drip from the top. Maybe there was some kind of drippy, gooey stuff, and it was coming down, dripping off. Which they kind of do. It was kind of dripping off through here. They might have fallen through the chute way up here at the top too as well. So that might have come off a little bit, like in through there. So we could have some water lines, maybe coming water drips and things, and goo, maybe coming off some of the sides of the compactor, and maybe garbage would be, jammed in some of these little teeth. On the other side, you could do that. You could do all kinds of things, and through there as well. So now I want to go back in. Maybe we do have time. I don't have to make a cut to another one to save time. Maybe. So let's pull back in now and let's work these figures. Make them a little bit darker. I don't have enough space to really get a lot of detail in through here, but we can work with them a little bit here. And bring out their features. So let's go back now to Luke. Let's go to Luke's layer, and we'll go to brush, and let's bump up the opacity of our nib here, and we'll start to work in a little bit and make this look a little bit more detailed. Here and through here, we'll put in some of his shoulder pads in through, and I think they come on down through here like so. And you can start to work this, and of course that's darker in through here. So we'll just get a little bit better idea. Clean this up maybe a little bit. So I don't want him having this crunched over, maybe like so. Might be interesting. You have to be really strong to do that, so that might be interesting. Since Hans has got it the other way. Han has got it the other way in through here. Take that down. Maybe his hair is through here. Side of his head. Over here maybe, hunched over shoulder. We get that. So I'd like to see his head maybe be just a little bit bigger and through there. There we go. So I'll try to keep it loose. Just sketch as a concept sketch, and of course you could turn this into all kinds of things. You could turn this into a painting or a finished drawing with lots of time and attention to it. We're just getting the structure and how these work together. And through here, and this buttock. It's got that little side thing going there. We don't see much on that side, so maybe he's pushing this over his shoulder, like so. So we see this, and we see that. Could come in together. And we'll see his leg coming down, and they start to kind of come up. So there's a space in between so they can stretch their legs and bend their knees. And through here, same thing. Through here. This comes over to their boots. Kind of a boot shoe thing in through there, and that's where he sits. It sits in the ground right in through there. Through here. Pull him over and back and through. So that's where he sits down there. All right, so we've got Luke kind of mapped in there. Good enough for now. okay, for a concept. And then we can work on Han a little bit. We'll just kind of work front to back and through here. And so we can build his character a little bit further here. We'll let Poe in through here. Maybe it's got some detail. And it's got some kind of interesting end on that side. There's some things that hang off of it. You know, water and junk can be coming off the edge of it. And this pole gets smaller as it goes away from us a little bit in perspective here, so it's not quite, it's at a slight angle as it diminishes to us a little bit, or from us actually. So we'll work with Han, and through here we'll go in, go up a little bit. Okay, we can go in even deeper there. There we go. Han's layer. We'll go to the brush and through here, and we'll just start to detail him out just a little bit. Kind of longer hair. Again, no real detail. We'll just put a line in for the nose. Okay, and through here. Shoulder coming through these shoulder pads. Big and bulky for the stormtroopers. Kind of coming through in here. Kind of come down like that. We've got this belt thing that comes across like so, right? Yeah. So this could be, you know, this type of drawing could be the thumbnail sketch for the, then we take this to the finished, you know, product. His hand and through here, and then he'd be lifting like he was almost curling. This would come up and over, and his hand might be right in through here. Then we could come down where they have the crotch plate, and through here across. Okay, nobody knows how they go to the restroom. It would be interesting conversation for maybe another time. This might go a little darker in through there, and we come up and over. This would be kind of dark and shadow. So we're just playing with the forms in through here and just kind of clarifying Han and his composition in through here. Of course, all this is in water, right? So he is deeply in water too as well, just like the others. But he's a little bit taller, so we'll bring out a little bit, and then we'll come up to finish him off like so. We have these shin guard shields in through there, then the boots. We pushed him out a little bit and over, so he might get a little bit of a push off that leg, and this would come maybe back in through here, and maybe he would be almost at a profile with his boot, but not quite. We'll just push him back here and over, and can get models for that later set in. This is all out of my head right now, and through here and over. Okay, so now we have him. So let's pull out again and through here, and let's take a look. So we've got them laid in, okay. And now we'll pull over and let's work with Leia, and then we'll end up with Chewbacca. So let's go to Leia's layer and through there. So if we took the others off, took it here and here to see what's going on, how we build this together. We have that back in here. And now we'll work with Leia a little bit further. We'll push in and go to, now I know why I was screwing up. I wasn't going horizontal enough with my stroke to make it work. Okay, now I understand. All right, so let's make her a little darker. We'll push her a little bit. We won't make her as dark as the others since she's a little bit further away. Okay, so I've got my brush tool, and let's just realize her out a little bit. And of course, she's stepping on some garbage. And through here, stepping on trash, poor thing. She's like, hey, I got to get out of here. I'll make her robe a little flowier. Through here, we'll bring her out, her hair up. We've got her classic Leia hairdo. Little nose there, okay. Not a lot of detail. Hand back here, so hands up. She's bracing herself through here. Just a thumbnail study sketch. Down and through here and over twist. She's twisting a little bit in through there. And he's just kind of fighting for a place to get a foothold. Maybe there's some garbage that she's stepping on right in through there. And it's difficult because there's water. So, you know, I'm just empathizing with the characters as I draw. I don't necessarily talk to myself when I draw, but I do have you as an audience, and I'm trying to help you out get better. And as a thinker and as a draftsperson, draftswoman, draftsman. And so we got to be able to think through it a little bit. All right, so let's pull now out a little bit again, and let's see what we did here. We come out. So see how perspective helps me. I know where I'm at all times. You really want to know where you're at when you're drawing representationally, almost always. Unless you're interpreting and you're abstracting, which is valid and a great thing to do. I do it as well. There are times when you want to be a little confusing or confused so that you can explore something that might be fresh and spontaneous that you can't get with a kind of structured kind of idea. But here you do. You want to know where you're at in your composition. Okay, so lastly, I think, so we can go and say, okay, let's go take a look at our entire composition. So we're almost there, right? We're getting close to finishing out. And let's give a little deference now to Chewbacca. We'll bring him up and in. Bump in our screen. And we'll go and take a look at our buddy Chewbacca, or everybody's favorite Wookiee. All right, so now let's draw him in a little bit. So we'll go to his layer, go to Chewie's layer, and then we'll start to work with our brush tool. Get our brush tool here, and we'll start to just flesh him out a little bit further. Down and over. His nose is there. Maybe his mouth. It's hard to show that's open. Maybe it's right there and through here. And we'll get his hairline coming at an angle down through. It's mostly all hair. Big shoulder coming through here and downwards. And remember, he's always got like a gun ammunition belt we'll put on him. And through there. And see, we're passing our water line, so we can see it there, right? So we'll bring him over and through. And he's got a belt, I think, like so. And then we'll start to big his leg in through here. And there's hair that hangs off, so I'll get some hair that hangs off, makes his leg look even fuller, and he comes over. And then his feet would sit here. And then the other foot down. Have to pull that out in a moment. We'll get that to sit down. And his arms. Okay, and over. And he's trying to, hold this together. And try to not have the doors crush everybody. He's trying to save everybody. And then we'll pull out just a little here so we can see it, and then we'll finish this bottom right in through here. So we'll finish this bottom foot about right in through here. And I remember he's 7'5", so he's huge. He's NBA, professional basketball, height. So he's pretty tall, and we want him to look like that. We want him to be that tall. So I might come up here and do a little bit more with Luke a little bit, since he's closest to us. Always got some kind of strange numbering or some kind of weird thing on the back, and through here, bring him in maybe a little bit more, and over. Just putting a little bit more detail on Luke a little bit. I might give him more of an active stance if I was using this beyond just a demo or a thumbnail sketch. Okay, so I think we're there. Let's pull out now for the final look-see, see what we've got, and let's talk about what we did and how we got there. I think we're there. So let's pull in, let's take a look. So there we are. So we have our Star Wars compactor scene, and we've created our characters. We've created 4 characters: Chewbacca, Han, Luke, and Leia, and we referenced them using 1-point perspective against the back of the wall, and then we projected them outward to where we wanted. So we drew a reference line through their initial measurement that was different from each other because they're different heights, and then we projected it forward, told ourselves where we wanted each figure, and then drew a reference line from their bottom point up. And then, of course, we took Leia and we moved her from 5 feet at the very back wall up another 5 feet. So she's actually 10 feet in the air from her head. She's 5 feet in the air from her foot. And we put her on some trash, and she's in the process of now climbing up to get the heck out of the way of the compactor to there. And of course, we've added trash, etc., and we've built this drawing from interior to exterior. So we started here, and then we started adding our characters through there. And we put them all together. So that's what perspective can do. It can give you an ultra representative and beautiful set of tools to make your image really come alive. Okay, so there you go. So I don't think that was too hard. I think that you could totally handle that, and you can go off and do really cool imaginative things as you want. Just remember establish where your eye level is, your horizon line, your center line, your vanishing point, and then we'll talk about cone of vision and station point at another time, and see what drama that you can create on your own. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and we'll see you next time. Take care out there. Bye-bye.